Hi, my name is Frank McLaughlin. Work for the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. I manage the Office of Brownfield Community Revitalization. Probably the best job at NJD, even tell my bosses. So you're at the Brownfield's Quarterly Roundtable and at the DEP Public Hearing Room. I'm going to pass it over to Rachel Stopper to talk about the ground rules because I always forget them. Go ahead, Rachel. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I just want to go over some of the rules if you have joined remotely. So if you want to ask a question, please enter your name and affiliation in the chat. If you're called on, when you're called on to speak, you can unmute yourself. And if you would like, you can turn on your camera. And when you are finished speaking, please remute yourself and turn off your camera. And also, we'd love to have a list of all of you that have joined from home. So if you can, please put in your name, your email, and your affiliation, and then we can have that attendance for the record. Okay.
Thank you, Rachel. We have obviously an agenda, and also we wanted to kind of alter the way we're doing roundtables. See one of my former colleagues, Steve Hayes, who ran this roundtable for many years and did such an excellent job. Thank you, Steve. And we're going to get back to kind of less presentations and more discussion, because I think and Al Miller, another retiree next to, and thank you for your service too, Al. There's not enough dialogue between the department and the people and the places we serve. So our office is going to move. We're going to continue to have presentations on timely matters, but we want to spend more time interacting with the public, the licensed site remediation professionals, developers, and our other partners in brownfield redevelopment. We have a packed agenda today. We have a team from Burlington City sitting across the roundtable. We're excited to hear one of our newest brownfield development area designations, and we're really excited to hear from Burlington City. We're going to hear remotely from West Orange later as well, another one of our new BDA communities, but also a community that we had served for about 15 years in another part of the town. So we're excited to hear from our new brownfield development area family, and we have some of our old brownfield development area folks here and also online. So we are looking to have a dialogue. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Rachel Stopper, who's going to talk about our hazardous discharge site remediation fund program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel, and I'm an HDS rep coordinator in the Brownfields office. And I have an update here on the HDS rep, which stands for the Hazardous Discharge Site Remediation Fund. It is the state Brownfield grant. And we administer this grant in partnership with the Economic Development Authority, who's here with us today. So right now we have 5 staff reviewing HDS rep applications, which is very exciting. It's been a long time since we've had so many people looking. So, and we've seen great outputs because of that. But right now, there's $70 million available in the HDS rep. That is based on the most recent reporting that we have from the Economic Development Authority. And that does not include anything, any of our recommendations that might be pending at this time at the EBA. But it is very safe to say that the HDS rep is very well funded at this time. And to date, for the current year, we have done just under $6 million in recommendations that we have sent over to EBA. And one thing that I do want to talk about, and if you've been to our roundtables recently, we've had some discussions regarding the status of the nonprofit grant. The HDS rep provides funding for several types of entities. We have grants for public entities, We have grants for private entities, and we also have the nonprofit grant, which is for our nonprofit entities. The nonprofit grant was a pilot program started in 2005, and at that time, $5 million was placed into the fund for our nonprofit grant applicants. And as of today, and actually as of the end of last year, the allocation remaining in the HDSRF is now 0. So if you submit an application and you are a nonprofit grant, or you're applying for a nonprofit grant, there is no money available in the funds at this time. It doesn't matter that we have $70 million available in the grant. Remember, this was a pilot program where back in 2005, there was $5 million placed in the grant. And recently, that has been exhausted. And so the only way that there can be additional funds added to the nonprofit grant is through a legislative change. And so the grant can only be re-upped through a legislative change. The grant can only be made permanent through a legislative change. And so traditionally, I hear an echo. And so traditionally, these changes have been made or introduced at the local level. And so there are people who would be affected by the nonprofit grant, a nonprofit grant stakeholder, whether you're a nonprofit grant entity or a municipality who likes to work with nonprofit grant developers. And so that is why our office suggests that you, nonprofit grant stakeholders, reach out to your legislative representatives and let them know how you feel about the status of the grant and any changes that you would want to see. And so a bill can be sponsored and possibly change the status of the nonprofit grant. And the suggestions should come from you. But my recommendation is that the grant be made permanent, so it's not a pilot program anymore. It should be made permanent. And also there should be funding available every year for nonprofit entities, whether it's just available in the grant at all times, or maybe there's $1 million available per year or $2 million available per year if we have grants or something like that. So I just wanted to make sure everyone heard that very important message. And that's it. And I think there are some questions.
Yeah, thank you, Rachel.
Hi, Steve. And make sure you're speaking into the microphone so people at home can hear you.
Introduce yourself, Steve.
Okay, I guess I can hear me. Is it on?
Push that little button so it turns green.
All right, thank you. My question, Rachel, has to do with the nonprofit zero amount available and the need for legislative action.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if there's been any conversation in the environmental subcommittee and the legislature at all subcommittees for legislature for all to push this? So as a department, do recommendations to their liaison to the legislature?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know about any conversations that the department may have had.
Any other questions?
Sure, Laura.
Laura Brinkerhoff. My question applies to this legislative question. Is there an obvious person in the legislature we should reach out to try to? Is there do you know of someone who's been behind these bills in the past that we should reach out to?
I'm not sure it's my place to make recommendations for certain politicians who might be helpful to us, but I would recommend going to the New Jersey website and you can look up past bills and see who the sponsors were.
We made the briefing internally of this pilot program being exhausted, so they're aware, but obviously a legislative fix is what's needed, so that comes from outside the department. So your help working with us could provide the legislative fix that's needed. We do want to obviously have a lot of successful nonprofits that have done great housing, open space, and other things in our cities, and we would love to see that grant refreshed with funding.
Yeah, Alan?
No,
Maybe a suggestion is for folks that are attending the redevelopment forum in another week or two. I haven't looked at all of the agenda, all of the sessions, but I would suspect that there may be some sessions that deal with the nonprofit world, whether it be affordable housing or other venues within that conference. So that may be a place for us to begin networking with other entities that are affected by the lack of funding right now. Because I imagine that we need to pull synergy together and a group of folks together to go to the legislature to push for this. Because we're in unusual economic times right now and unusual political times. And of course, we have an election coming up, which may or may not change the face of the administration in New Jersey, or will change it, but we don't know how.
thanks, Al.
Any other questions about the HTS grant? Yes, Chris?
How you doing? Christine King, BHA. So we have a few municipalities we're working with that are ready to put in grants with the nonprofit. Do you suggest that we still move forward getting those applications in, or should we hold off until we hear from your group?
I recommend that if you want to submit an HTSRF application for the nonprofit grant, that you do submit them, because then we have information that I could report to my management and to say, hey, you know, we have to now start denying applications and for these nonprofit grants. And you know, if that number is high, that might be a stronger message.
And also it puts you in the queue, right, when it becomes available. So we normally prioritize our HPS for grant reviews by whether it's in the Brownfield development area or it's an immediate environmental concern. So best to put it in the queue so we're ready when the fix comes.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because we will review them in the order that they have been received. Any more questions?
Thanks, Rachel.
Anyone virtual? No? All right. Thank you.
We're going to have a discussion period later from 11 to 12. So I'll write down your questions if we didn't answer them. Have an hour to do so. Rachel says thank you. I say hello again. Those just joining us, my name is Frank McLaughlin. I manage the Office of Brownfield Community Revitalization. We do a quick update on the Brownfield development area, but we have distinguished guests here that are going to give show some great work happening in some of the new Brownfield development areas like Burlington City and West Orange. Next. Next again. Well, many of our guests here are pretty experienced in the Brownfield program, but I'd like to provide a definition from a statute, Brownfield Act of 1998. The take-home message, but most of you here know this, is that brownfields are really a land recycling program from like to benefit. And many brownfield sites are strategically located on waterways, transportation corridors, and not all, but most of them. So, and let's have a conversation about it. If we can help you with our HDS program that Rachel just gave a quick overview of, or if we can work in a longer-term sustained fashion, we do that through our Brownfield development program. Next. So there's a statutory definition of establishing brownfield development areas. I'm not going to go through the 4 criteria, but they're listed there. And we're really trying to basically work under local initiative of a local redevelopment plan or area need redevelopment or local planning document in a neighborhood that has brownfield sites. So we may not be able to fund abandoned residential sites and other stuff, but they may be part of the neighborhood redevelopment. So we understand that. But we're here to work on not only the brownfield sites, but also potentially other things that the community of the neighborhood does. I was very fortunate to work in the city of Camden, where we did a lot of investments in separating sewers, stormwater management, green infrastructure, trying to Conyer. Now Burlington City is here, and she'll remember doing brownfields, but it's part of a larger infrastructure improvements and neighborhood revitalization. So it could be as simple as a pocket park on a gas station, or solving beyond brownfields reuse to do, could be climate resiliency, could be open space benefits, could be straight economic development, or all the above. So we want to hear your plans. This is just a small brownfield development area that one of my former colleagues, Belinda, worked on in Haddon Township. Was a little donut hole on Haddon Avenue, not too far from McBullough Bakery, which used to make some great cream donuts, but they just recently closed. And a block away from the Paco speed line and a block away from the municipal complex. And it was an eyesore for a long time. And you drive by it now for the first time in many years, you wouldn't even recognize it because it's a beautiful 5-story reuse and lots of walkers and first floor retail too. So the new urbanism, I'm not an architect or a planner, but it's just copying the old urbanism of, street floor commercial retail and then four stories of residential above it, but much better than an abandoned diaper factory in the middle of your main street in small Haddon Township. Next. So I'm really happy to announce that we have accepted 13 new brownfield development areas into our brownfield development area family. And the list of them are right there. We have met with all of them and had our kickoff meetings. We are in the process of executing memorandum of understanding with the municipalities that will specify the specific sites we're working on and the steering committee. Through that MOU and the brownfield development area sites and steering committee can always be amended in the future. So, and again, we're going to hear more from Burlington City and West Orange in a little bit. Next. These are some of our existing BDs go back to 2003. We brought in, at the time, 31 brownfield development areas from 2003 to 2009. And so we are around the state in small communities and hamlets all the way to our largest cities. And everybody's got brownfields. Every 565 or 4 municipalities, everybody's got a gas station or that guy's looking at me, a little dump at the end of the dead end in these places, and we can help. And so that's why we're meeting today, so we can do what they did at the Haddon Town Center PPA and many others. Next. Well, there's the Haddon Town Center PPA right there. I put this slide in. So we talked. So many benefits to the reuse of brownfields, right? Community revitalization, social benefits, environmental benefits, economic benefits, and proud to say that our HCS program has leveraged about over $8 of additional monies to sites like the former Diety site in Haddon Town Center and the beautiful Haddon Town Center right there. Again, a block from the Paco station. So if you commuting to Philadelphia or other towns in South Jersey, it's a really great facility and a great town to walk around in. And one of our many brownfield developmentary successes. Next. And I have friends who do sustainable development and lead development, and I was getting arguments with them. It's probably my fault because they talk about like sustainable development. Well, if you're putting houses or other amenities on the greenfield side, you're baking in vehicle miles traveled, extension of infrastructure, all that stuff. So the carbon footprint of traditional greenfield development is much, much higher than recycling land. When you're recycling land, you're typically close to transportation assets, often mass transit assets. You're often closer to work, school, and other amenities that you use in your region. So there's a laundry list there, and I can tell you just talk about vehicle miles traveled. Hudson County, less than 10 vehicle miles traveled per car, and much less cars in Hudson County per person too. Hunterdon County, beautiful county in New Jersey, about 44 miles average car, vehicle miles traveled. So just the vehicle impact in a place like Hudson County, just counting the miles traveled, not even the less cars per person, 1/5 of the carbon footprint, right? Essex County is close by, so our urban northeastern counties especially have much lower carbon footprints. So if we want to solve our or mitigate the climate problems that are increasingly coming, we're going to have some smoke here tomorrow, I hear. Hopefully not as bad as it was 2 years ago, or was that last year? Oh my gosh. Anyway, let's not talk about Canada burning again. We really need everybody to roll up their sleeves and recycle sites like this site. It's the former Phoenix, it's the former American Mineral site in Camden, and now Phoenix Park. Next. One of the staff members, Ron Mikowski, is here. Ron, do you want to say any words about one of our success stories? Let's pass the mic to the person who did all the work for the last 14 or 15 years.
Yeah, so this was a great project, mainly because it's right near the Somerville train station, so it's a transit-oriented redevelopment. The red area up there where the transit-owned properties, they now have a lot of townhouses, hundreds of townhomes, residential. We have luxury apartments on one of the orange lot to the right. The green seam was the stream corridor that went through the landfill that we used HSRF to remediate that, and that's the green open space component of it. And the rest of the landfill will be solar eventually. They just have to get through some regulatory hurdles. But yeah, it's been a great project, and yeah, a lot of this has revitalized downtown Somerville, so it's been a great project.
Thanks, Ron. Ron will be around for the question and answer period. You want to hear more about it? $23 million of HDSRF money, about a 15-year period. So, and Ron was a case manager from day one. So that sustained effort. Our friend, local business administrator Colin Driver has been on Ron's speed dial for many years with Ron, and even reviving when BPU changed their community solar rules 2 years ago, Ron. So Ron and Colin really helped revive some things that should happen. You can see all the great development on formerly, again, underutilized land, which now people are jumping on the train and going into New York or urban areas in New Jersey. So thank you, Ron, for all your hard work. Next. Unfortunately, the project manager for the Perth Amboy BDA is out attending to a family illness, Tony Finley. While I'm talking about Tony and Ron, you've met Rachel. Jamila, will you wave to everybody? Jamila manages our BDA section. And we have, and let my staff here introduce themselves. Josephine, would you pass it down all the way to Sam and just say which BDH you're working on and which HDSRF counties you're coordinating. That's all introduce yourself to.
Sure. So most of you know me as Josephine O'Grady. I just got married, so it's Josephine Mitchell now. So new email because of that. Just got that figured out with IT. I'm an HDSRF coordinator in the Brownfield office, and I'm training to be a project manager for 3 of our new BDAs. So the City of Passaic, West Orange, and Camden as well. So happy to be here.
I apologize because I have a trouble reacher. But my name is Erica Roosevelt. I'm also an HDSRF coordinator. I also work in Brownfield's BDA. I'm very new, very free when it comes to DEP. I've been here for about a year since last August. I come from a consulting background, so I do really enjoy the remediation side of things, and I'm very happy to be here as well. My BDAs are currently Carneys Point, Hainesport, and Paulsboro. I work closely with Ron and Frank on these, and I look forward, Jamila, I'm so sorry. And I look forward to meeting and talking about everything today.
Yeah, I'm Cameron Haynes. I've been working for DEP for about 2 months. I'm an HDSRF coordinator, and I'm trained to be a BDA manager, and I'm working on Burlington City, and I did some with Hainesport.
I'm Sam Nelson. I'm also new to DP. I've been here about 6 months now, and I'm an HDSRF coordinator, and I'm also working on some BDAs. I'm working on Burlington City, Atlantic City, and then Bayonne.
Thanks, Sam. Great job. Thank you. I probably won't do this justice for Tony Finley, but this is the former ASARCO site in Perth Amboy, and right next to the former National Lead site in ASARCO. Not much contamination at these sites. Pretty simple, straightforward remediations here. Joking, of course. But this is what it looks like now. The final warehouses are actually going to be opened, or actually later this month, there'll be a groundbreaking for the final warehouses. So just these 2 lots is about roughly 3 to 4 million square feet of new logistics warehouses. This is where the towns and people want them. Perth Amboy is over the moon about the ratables, about these unproductive sites. You see, National Lead was already out by 1979, and ASARCO was on its last legs at that point, at this site. And it's next to the Jordan Steel. These sites in total were just under 200 acres. That's why you have so much warehousing. And right underneath the Outerbridge Crossing, it's Staten Island, right across the river there. On the other side of a railroad tracks, a little inland, former Jordan Steel site. That's just Home Depot and somebody else there, right? Everybody wants their tools, when you when the street job craps out, right? So anyway, everyone wants things the same day or the next day, and Perth Amboy is supplying that. And the places want these warehouses for local jobs and revenue, and the warehouse has been a nice match for a number of our BDAs, and much less pushback from these cities. Now, many cities are putting ordinances to prevent warehouse development. So, next. This is the Kramer Hill BDA in Camden. That's Philadelphia in the distance. So that was one of our original BDAs. So we had that was designated in 2003. Only $40 million in aid. Maybe we're giving out some big grants continually, so we're maybe close to $45 million. And when you have great local partners like we had in the city of Camden with Johanna here reminding me of that, we can't get this done without local partners who apply for the HDSRF grants and have environmental professionals to support them in their grant applications. And this site alone got $30 million if you include the park on the backside of the Salvation Army Croc Center, which serves over 8,000 people, right? There's a medical clinic there, food pantry, Hot Box Theater, the only liquor-sized swimming pool in Camden, a water park. Well, I think it's just amazing. So maybe some of us in suburban communities take it for granted that we have a baseball field to go to, or a pool to swim in, or a gym to play in. But this is really an amazing facility that serves so many needs in the area that weren't always met in the past. Next. And that's all for me. And so I'm going to pass it to our friends at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. I see Barbara in the distance, so I'm going to hand you this. So are we behind schedule, or do we have time for questions, Rachel?
Actually, it's time for the BDA partner update.
Did that? I can put my glasses on. Sorry. Oh my gosh. And the mayor's in the room. I'm so sorry. I usually have my glasses with me there. I apologize. So, Mayor, I'm going to pass this to you so you can introduce yourself and talk about all the great things happening in the city of Burlington. Is that good? Good morning, everyone.
So, the city of Burlington, in the Brownfield development area, that's our newest pipe foundry site. I want to thank the New Jersey DEP. Thank you to Commissioner Sean Latourette, obviously our project or program manager Tony Finley for his leadership and laying out the steps the site cleaned up. And we've had one meeting, and then before you know, we had several other meetings to deal with flood issues, which the city of Burlington is 80% is in the flood zone. And obviously, the historic buildings that are on the site that we want to try to preserve as many as we can. So I'm in my third term as mayor. My grandparents, my great grandparents came to Burlington City right after World War One, and pipe foundry site has been around for a long time. Next slide. And so this is at the turn of the 20th century, as far as how the site looked when it was actively operating. That foundry was producing iron steel. Obviously, the byproducts, the hazardous byproducts of that, you have the heavy metals, you have the petroleum products that are from the activities, whether it's motorized equipment or for lubricants, the PCBs from the transformers to power the electric to operate the plant, and then obviously the pipe work filled it with PAHs. So obviously that becomes a problem. This facility operated from say 1870s, 1880s to about mid 80s, 1980s. So obviously well over 100 years, and of course with that it provided a lot of jobs. The largest employer in the city of Burlington, with probably about 800 people. But these were the jobs that raised families. And so obviously, when they are leading the community, it does impact the community. You see the smokestacks. You probably have baghouse dust. I've been told from those that used to live in the area, older people, that they put their clothes out on the line, and obviously overnight or during the day, that dust would come out and deposit onto their clothing there. Next slide. So we have a MOU with our development out of Bethlehem, and this is their concept for when the site is fully cleaned up. The goal was to reimagine the site that it can be good use. So that reimagined the site and use. Once it's environmentally cleaned up, is to have about 600 market rated and affordable homes there for sale and for rental at the site. Also try to preserve many of the buildings that are on site, then provide access to public. So, as we go through the slides, you'll see different views of how the site looks right now. Move to the next location, please, slide. Okay, so this is looking south from the site. To the left, you see the New Jersey Transit river line that goes between Trenton and Camden. You also, at nighttime, that is used for Conrail freight. You see the East Burlington neighborhood to the left. And in the foreground, there's Pearl Point, which is a new 184 developed apartments in town. And the Burlington-Bristol Bridge that links Burlington to Bristol, Pennsylvania. And off to the right is the Burlington Island. You can see in between trees, the portion of the lake that's in the middle of Burlington Island. Next slide. So just the general history of the site. Andrew McNeil bought about a little over 100 acres of property at the site. Again, he granted, it was sold, but they produce a lot of ductile pipe, and obviously used for water and wastewater distribution. But the site again did a lot of good for Burlington, and we're happy to be part of in the BDA and seeing that this site is going to be cleaned up. Next slide. This is in the foreground, the white building is the Amazon building. And so as far as mayor, when they come to your community and say, hey, we can put a warehouse up and we're going to produce probably 600, 800 jobs, it's hard to turn that down. Burlington is a town of about a little under 10,000. And so in a short period, you can almost have 10% of your town have a workforce right there. That may not be a job for me, may not be a job for you, but the job that's in your community, and that Amazon saying, hey, we're going to give you insurance from day one. That job, it's hard to turn that down. And so this is on the waterfront. One of the things that the DEP does very well is their regulations regarding access to the water. And so when this building was being put up, we wanted to make sure that we had access to the water. So behind the Amazon building, along the waterfront, there is a trail there, a concrete trail that has been put in. And when we finish and get this US pipe site remediated, we'll be able to walk from Burlington City, Burlington Township line, all the way down south to the Burlington-Bristol Bridge, and 90% of your walk is along the waterfront. So that's going to be a big point for Burlington. The promenade gets used a lot. There's no buildings there, but the ability to have a developer, the ability to have the BDA, the New Jersey DEP, be a partner to clean this site up, that is fantastic. Next slide. This again looking east from the riverfront, and so obviously some of the buildings are not going to be able to be saved. But a lot of the brick buildings have markers on them that say they're from the 1880s. It's hard to carry down that history. But obviously, everybody wants to put up a warehouse. But can you do something differently? Can your vision say something different? Politically, it's very tough to say no. But you have to do it if you want to give your town a chance to do something different. So one of the things is that by getting the site cleaned up, having a partner with the New Jersey DEP, and having our developer that has experience with the Bethlehem Steel site, as far as this is a smaller portion, this is 60 acres, this is about 1,800 acres, but Burlington is 3.5 square miles, and so this site here represents a big portion of the city of Burlington, especially to the north. Next slide. On this slide here, just showing some pictures. The two bottom to the left are is the Andrew McNeil's ranching site. That site was his home at one time. He had an arboretum out front. The other thing that he also had was another person came in they put a deck that's along the waterfront. And when you're on that deck, that's probably the best view within the city of Burlington. And the goal is to try to get this mansion restored. Obviously, it was his house and then eventually the U.S. Pipes business before they went to Alabama. But obviously, getting these sites cleaned up and restored is the higher order that needs to be done. Next slide. Okay, so this is, again, looking at the vision as a scale up as far as being utilized Jones Street, which comes off of Route 130, and you'll see like almost like a boardwalk coming to the river. Obviously, the big access potentially to Bronson Island, the walkways leaving from behind Amazon, going south into Bronson City, and then some of these spaces that will have educational spaces, obviously living spaces, restaurants, and other retail spaces out on this project site. The site's not going to be closed off to the public. Matter of fact, it's going to be welcoming to the public. So because when you're in the community, you want to make sure that everybody feels welcome there. And that's why these walk spaces and utilizing the former rail trails to fix up are be big and key to the site. These are not easy sites. A lot of contamination. We're out there right now, or at least our samplers out there right now, sampling the site to find the areas of concern so that they can be cleaned up. And obviously, once we identify those, then you begin to clean up. And once it's remediated, then you can look at this vision and try to start working on this vision. But we have to say that, again, thank you to the VDA, thank you to New Jersey DP. This is something that is a long time that we're happy to be involved in. It's very important to the city of Burlington. The residents see that, hey, this is a great partnership, not just the financial, not just the technical assistance, but a true partnership in helping small cities take this from one location. Hey, it's dirty, it needs to be cleaned up, and that expertise and partnership, holding our hand, walking us through those steps is very important. So again, thank you to New Jersey DEP, DPA. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Yep, I'm the same problem. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Do we have any questions for Mayor Conway? I do. Frank. First, I want to commend the mayor and the city's vision and turning U.S. Pipe into something that's going to be an asset in the community rather than a drag. It's really what we're all about here. And you great example. Thank you. And the waterfront walkway. There was a case up in Hudson County along the Hudson River where the county was brought, it ended up in the New Jersey State Supreme Court, where the state Supreme Court affirmed the people's right to the river. And so we've been using that in other towns to impose a waterfront walkway requirement in any development along the river. It looks like we've jumped on board there too.
Yes, I did happen to find that, and we put that in our agreement. So you guys, I say thank you, DP.
Yeah, what a beautiful spot to reacquaint your residents and area folks with the beautiful Delaware River there. It's a beautiful place. Burlington Island's amazing too. There'll be some permitting challenges with that site, but boy, future connection there sounds terrific.
We'll have
Maybe
it will happen.
I believe you, and with you pushing it and DEP helping, it'll happen. We've seen it happen. It will happen. It'll take a little perseverance, and there'll be some hiccups along the way, and some 11th-hour permitting adjustments. But we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. We have the developer for the projects here who did the amazing project of similar buildings in Bethlehem. So I wanted him to say a few words while he's.
I didn't anticipate speaking today. Thanks, Frank. My name's John Callahan. I'm the Director of Development with Prime Development, and we were I was mayor of Bethlehem at the time that we redeveloped the Bethlehem Steel site, which at the time it was the largest single owner brownfield site in the country. It was an 1,800 acre parcel, represented about 20% of the taxable land mass of the city. So when Bethlehem Steel went bankrupt in 03, you can imagine the challenges we were faced as a community. And I took over in 04, so it was very daunting to get that project back on the tax rolls. And I agree with Frank in many ways. So we took essentially 1,600 acres of that 1,800 acres and made it logistics and warehousing and flex business. And we're able to bring about 6,000 or 7,000 new jobs to the community to replace the 35,000 that we lost when in its heyday, Bethlehem Steel employed 35,000 in a city of 75,000. So, but we took the sort of smallest portion, the historic portion, very similar to what Burlington is doing now with the pipe site. They did the logistics, and that was easy and great. You need to get those, the rateable. But this site is just the most historic portion, and it's hard for me to say this as the former mayor of Bethlehem, but this site's kind of cooler than the Bethlehem Steel site.
It's the same.
When we saved the blast furnaces, we lit them up as a piece of sculpture, and we stole that idea from Germany, and we built a beautiful park in the Levitt Pavilion. We won a global ULI award as well as the Phoenix Award from DEP in Pennsylvania. And, we had great partners in DEP and PA. I have to tell you, I've been incredibly impressed with the energy of the NJDEP. Everyone that's worked on we have a pending BRIP application. Everyone that's worked on the BDA side, Anthony is a force. He's just, I said to Anthony, where has he been all my life? Because he is, we're really excited to be working with him. And I can't say enough about Johanna and the mayor and their vision and their patience and persistence to see that, not to take the easy route, so to speak. And these buildings deserve to be saved. We're going to save 9 of the 13 existing buildings on the site. They're beautiful field stone buildings, and that's kind of what makes them more interesting in some respects than the Bethlehem Steels. At least some buildings there that are a third of a mile long, old machine shops that are very hard to repurpose. This site has just very digestible elements to it, and I think we're going to be able to save enough of the old buildings to keep that sense of authenticity and place and history. We can celebrate the folks that work there and the impact of as we did with Bethlehem Steel, but also provide opportunities for that new urban infill. So it's going to be a live, work, play, and learn element to it, and we're going to reintroduce the community to the waterfront in a very exciting way. So we couldn't be happier to have everybody as a partner, and super excited to be a part of the project. And we did the Pro Point project up the street. We did 184 units already in downtown Burlington. So that was all new construction, but, kind of a brownfield site and an older, a second generation site on the waterfront. So we love the city. We've been, big believers in Burlington, and to have an opportunity to do something like, to have one Bethlehem Steel site in your life already seems like too much, but to have a second one is really, more than one could ask for. So most people don't love brownfield sites, but I get pretty energized by them. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you.
John, thank you so much for on the spot. Your excitement, along with obviously Burlington City's excitement and vision, it's just tremendous, and we're excited to be working with you guys. And it's not going to be easy, right? But if it comes out like, the Bethlehem Steel plant remake is just an amazing project. And so you're the right person for that work. There's no buildings, right? We're not just in the site remediation business. We are in the future placemaking business. And it's got to connect to people, to history, to the environment, to the local economy. And this sounds like it's going to check all those boxes, and we'll keep Tony working hard on it. He had to attend to a family illness. He's sad that he couldn't be here today, but he's excited as you guys are. You're working on this project. We all are.
Sam and Cameron are tremendous. They really are great.
Yeah, we're so lucky to have them. It's a little while to backfill those positions. Any questions for John Callahan, Mayor, or Johanna?
May I?
Absolutely.
So I guess like John, who knew I would have another BA
in my lifetime, right? So, and when we got the call and said, the VA program was open again, Alan Miller, who we've known each other quite some time, and Frank McLaughlin and I worked on the one in Camden together. And the mayor didn't know about it. And I told him, like, this is it. This is how you get the project done. I said, it's going to move fast. I told him you get your project manager. And I've always talked about you, Frank. And, always. And I actually said, the first time we had at some point, I really thought he was going to lose his job because Frank would just push. And when I talked to Frank, he said, the project manager you're getting is just like me. I said, oh, here we go. And it's amazing. I mean, it's something that DEP is, of course, really committed to. And the development is great. But when I first got to the city of Burlington, I've only been there 3 years now, when the mayor, showed me the property, I was very impressed that he didn't have some warehousing done, but that he, kind of stayed committed to retaining that other portion of the property. A lot of the cities that are on the waterway, of course, they're all contaminated because, again, that's where industry was. So there's not many cities that have a true promenade and that kind of access to the waterway. So I was very impressed with that. We already had some HDRX grants, and we were just chugging along. I was impressed, but I was thinking, how in the world are we going to do this? And then I got the call from Alan Miller. But also just not only what this development will mean to this region, but when we think about this contamination, we're talking about air, soil, possibly water, right? It sits right on the waterway. Burlington City gets their drinking water out of the Delaware. Quite a few cities get their drinking water out of that river. So it's very important that it's remediated. I'm not going to say more important than being developed, but that alone, I mean, it just mitigates the health and safety disadvantages and discrepancies that can, happen to the people that live in that region and or those who get their drinking water from there. So, again, I told the mayor and John Callahan, he did say, where have you been to Tony? Tony is a force unto himself. And Cameron and Samantha, Sam, have just really kept the ball rolling. You need someone to wrangle all the cats, and that's what Sam and Cameron are good at doing, is wrangling this all. Again, on behalf of the city of Burlington, we really want to thank DP, Commissioner Russell Red, Alan Miller for reaching out to us, Frank, Tony, and everyone that's just lined up and all of us pushing in the same direction. We have VHP as our LSRP. I've worked with Laura Brinkerhoff in Camden, so we, known each other as well. So it's just great, to see some new faces, some old faces, but all with the same vision. And I know we will get this done. I don't know how long it's going to take. Well, how long did it take for us to do Croc?
2006 is when, after the first proposal, and 2006, the DEP went out and an army of folks, and then we moved the Croc Center like half a mile, right?
Yes.
I didn't move a 4-block long building half a mile, right? That's what we did, right? Got rid of the hazardous waste that was in that area. So it opened in 2014, so 8 years. And the park opened in 2021, so really 15 years before it was done.
Absolutely. And so again, to somehow in my career, get the unicorn of 2 BDAs. I don't know, is it a blessing? Is it a curse? I don't know. But I think it's a blessing because it's what it can do for that region. And not only just for that city, but that whole region is going to be remarkable. I don't really think we have a steering committee. And so as we work with the steering committee, these are the people who have businesses and live in that area. So, we have the committee meetings and start to explain, and they kind of understand all that's involved and the commitment from DEP financially, technically, and sometimes even emotionally. I think they're really starting to understand that we can get this done. The BDA is really how we're going to actually get it done. And now the residents understand that this is a real project. It's a real project. So thank you.
Well, thank you guys, right? What an amazing project and vision. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just wanted to maybe help encourage you. The town of Harrison had similar steel plants on the South Harrison waterfront. It was an industrial area. Harrison up in Hudson County was the beehive of industry at one time. And now, if you were to go up there now, all those old plants are gone. There were no historic buildings that were worth saving. They were just heavily contaminated and permeated in the building itself. But if you want to see what can happen in New Jersey with the BDA program and steel plants, I'd encourage you to drive up to Emerson sometime. It's beautiful. It's done for the most part. It's where you want to go, I think.
Well, and also I'll add to Steve, and not only amazing job in the Harrison BDA, but the World Cup is coming to one of these former sites. Right, so that's just small potatoes, right?
It's a long-term benefit. The Red Bull Arena and everything that's been happening. Real.
Awesome. We had that. Go ahead, Alan Miller.
Mayor, Joanna, John, Joanna, you talked about it's a unicorn and BDA, and it's also with what happened over the past few months, serendipitous, because I retired out of TP, and Tony and I had many somewhat heated conversations prior to me leaving about who was going to be the BDA manager. And, we were going to throw it down because I wanted to do it and he wanted to do it. Serendipity kind of folded in, and, I left, and now with Montrose Environmental, and Tony was the winner. And he grabbed it, and you're in great hands with Tony, as you well know. And, it's all about political will as well. So, Mayor, congratulations for having the foresight, and for former Mayor Callahan for having that foresight to understand that, long-term plans is advantageous to your residents, which is why we're all here in one way or another. So, congratulations to everybody. And John, hopefully you're going to stick around when this is over, because I have a very close association with Bethlehem. I know someone very close to me that is executive at Just Born. And I've spoken to Don Cunningham. I've spoken to Mayor Turner. And I'd like to have a conversation with you to pick your brain. Okay.
Any other questions for the mayor, Joanna, the development team led by John? Thank you so much for the awesome vision, and we're gonna have fun working with this most of the time. There's gonna be intense meetings along the way, but we're gonna get it done because we're committed to the long term, just like you guys. So we're running a few minutes behind. So what I'm gonna ask. We'll adjust the break a little later. We're very excited to hear from Zybeth Carvalho from West Orange, introduce the new West Orange Lakeside Brownfield Development Area. And Steve must be like in the center of the universe today, because Steve also worked on the Central Valley BDA in West Orange and Orange. So again, thank you for your service there, Steve. So we're going to go to Zybeth. Is she available?
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone. So I'm Sajibek Carvalho. I'm the municipal engineer for the Township of West Orange. I will go over the Brownfield redevelopment area that we just got awarded on this second round of Brownfield areas. So the Lakeside Avenue BDA. Yes, okay, so the Lakeside Avenue BDA consists of approximately 18 or 19 sites. It's located in the Township of West Orange. The priority properties, I would say, is number 1 and number 2, which are the 25 Lakeside Avenue, and the number 2 is the 55 Lakeside Avenue. Number 1 is currently the DPW site. We're currently working. DPW and engineering department works out of this facility. Number 2 used to be the Barton Press, and it is currently being, the consultant environmental company are currently working to develop, I would say, construction plans and specifications for the demolition of the existing buildings. For area number 1, which is priority 1 and 2, number 1, we're basically working right now with the environmental or LSRP in completing the remedial investigation. And from there, I guess, move forward with the site investigation in order to obtain the different permit that we need in order to move forward with the project for the demolition of both buildings on both sides in order to basically hand it over to the developer. On April 23rd, we actually had a kickoff meeting at 25 Lakeside Avenue with the NJDEP and the developer for the Lakeside Avenue BDA. And we did walk through some of the sites in the area. A lot of the properties are owned by the township along Ashland Avenue, which I would say are probably sites number 8, 7, 6, and I believe 10. Others are privately owned. And number 1 and number 2 are actually owned also by the township. And 4, 5, 16, I would say 19, 3, 17, and 18 are also privately owned. So we're currently working in moving forward with the project and working with the 2 LSRPs for the site in order to, I would say, decommission the PW, demolish the Barton Press, and basically sites, priority sites 1 and 2 are to be developed by the same developer. And that's where we at right now. Thank you.
So Beth, can you talk about the amazing plans for the priority redevelopment in this area of West Orange?
Let me see if I have those plans readily available in my files.
Or just speak about the amazing plans if you don't have, a slide ready.
I believe the plans are to do a movie studio, if I'm not mistaken. The site, site number 2 actually is immediately adjacent to the Thomas Edison Museum, where there was the first Mariah for movies. So it's a great plan, I think, for the community. It will definitely bring development, and it will make the area a lot more aesthetically pleasing, and also will provide additional, I would say, opportunities for the community to enjoy the area. Right now, a lot of the lots are, I would say, are an eyesore. They're empty. So that's the plan, to make it a movie studio.
Thanks, Beth. And we want to thank Beth and Mayor Susan McCartney, who again joined our new BDA family, and super exciting BDA. We have a lot of HDS rep grant money into that project, and super exciting plans for a film and movie studio, again, right next to the historic Edison Museum, and really where electricity and other technology was birthed in this country. Just an amazing area. Did anybody have any questions for Beth from the audience?
It's not a question as much as it is a comment. And, just as with Burlington City, talking to West Orange, who also is involved in a current BDA with the city of Orange, then it goes back to political will and vision and foresight. And for West Orange as well, it was the right time, the right place, the right situation, just like Burlington City, that this the revised EDA program came out when it came out, because everything seemed to line up for a number of these municipalities to take advantage of it. And, I think what hasn't really been said and should be said is that Frank was the one who really pushed very hard, pushed management hard to reinstitute the Brownfield development area. And I think that any success that will come from any of these projects moving forward, especially in the new PPAs, is a tribute to Frank's hard work and dedication to seeing New Jersey getting redeveloped and remediated to redeveloped. And I think we all owe Frank a lot of thanks for that.
It's very humbling, thank you. Yeah, but a little bit like Tony, as it was mentioned earlier, right? But when you have a program that has done so many amazing things, and I'm just thinking about, we just mentioned Red Bull and some of the other stuff that Steve did in Harrison, but the Central Avenue BDA, I mean, he took these Bird Hat and other mercury-soaked sites that are now houses and businesses. And so, I'm just lucky to be a spokesperson on top of so many other great projects around the state. So, and of course, without local partners and committed local partners into the long term, right? It doesn't happen, whether it's West Orange or Burlington City or anywhere else. So, thank you, Alan. Yeah, it was. We swim upstream sometimes. I guess we can right? Any other questions for West Orange? Any from the?
No questions, but for the US pipe site, I just wanted to mention that Burlington City received 2 HDSRF grants for assessment and investigation, totaling about $670,000. And also, it will be the first project where we are working in partnership with the EDA with the BRIC incentive, and so that's very exciting.
And we'll hear about BRIC later from our friend Barbara Fadney. And before we close out West Orange, I just wanted to hand the mic to our West Orange Lakeside Avenue BDA manager and some of the HDSRF status.
Sure, absolutely. So again, this is Josephine, and this is a BDA that I'm co-managing with Tony Finley, who's not here today. I think the biggest thing with the West Orange BDA is all the sites are clustered around 2 streets in West Orange around the Department of Public Works. And these sites are currently vacant with businesses that have not been active for a very long time. Recently, the township has had a street fair about 2 blocks from where the BDA is currently located. And when you get out and you actually see the sites, you can clearly see that this kind of cluster of properties will seriously revitalize downtown West Orange. So we're really excited to be working with the township on this. The 2 priorities for the township are revitalizing their Department of Public Works and their Barton Press site, which used to be a manufacturing company for printing ink. And so that property will be a movie studio when it's remediated and redeveloped. The township is currently working on submitting 2 HDSRF grants to us within the next few weeks. And they're currently in the remedial action phase, those 2 sites. So we're really excited to be working with the township and excited for next steps. Thank you.
And I just wanted to add to Josephine, one of the more recent grants that West Orange received was for their Selectable Flash and Middleman property for over $3 million.
That can help with redevelopment, right? Any other questions for Zybeth or the others who have worked on West Orange? Okay, I'm going to we're running behind, and I apologize for that. We'll have a shorter break and a shorter open discussion. But hopefully everybody's still energized by hearing what visions in Burlington City and West Orange. So I'd like to now pass it to our friends at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority and Bennett.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much. I'm Barbara Gagné, that's a silent S at the end, and I'm team lead for Brownfield's incentives at the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. And I'd like to extend a warm welcome from Elizabeth Lindbergh, our director of Brownfields, who's currently working from Newark today in Center. Thank you. As many of you are aware, our team at EDA has been diligently working on the Brownfields Redevelopment Incentive Program. I'm pleased to share that revisions to this program were signed into law in September 2024, and these changes are designed to enhance and streamline this program. Currently, the Brownfields team is in queue with our legal team to draft new rules that will implement these legislative changes. While we are eager to move forward, it's important to note that the EDA is managing multiple programs, and there are several initiatives prioritized ahead of the Brownfields Incentive Program at this time. Consequently, we do not have a specific launch date yet, but it's coming. The good news is that the revised program will operate on a rolling basis, and this means that once launched, applicants will be able to submit their applications whenever their projects are ready without having to wait for a specific application window to open. This should provide greater flexibility and accessibility for all participants. Once we receive the green light to draft the rules, we will be actively seeking stakeholder input from you all at this roundtable. I encourage you to join our email list to receive updates on our progress. We are still hopeful to launch this year, and the revised program will offer larger award amounts and broadens eligibility. So I've left program flyers on the front desk. If you use this QR code down here, you go to the website and you can sign a form and get on our email list if you're not already on our email list. And then you'll get updates on this program. Thank you for your patience and continued interest in the Brownfields Redevelopment Incentive Program. And we look forward to sharing more information with you.
Thank you, Barbara. EDA also has many other incentives that can help in the redevelopment process and the community economic development process. Barbara, do you want to talk about a few of them?
Well, there's the Aspire program, which I left flyers out there for redevelopment, and there's the historic tax credit program that I left flyers out on that also.
Super helpful, super to be able to leverage EDA's other incentives for projects. One of our BDAs, the Centerville BDA, took 15 years, only a 418-acre national lead site, radioactive national lead site. Groundwater that would pH less than 2. Over 2 miles of river contamination, and
the Aspire Award.
A $400 million Aspire Award to go vertical, right? So after $20 million in HDSRF, about $120 million in private investment for remediation. The radiation and PCBs had to go all over the country. It was maybe international, I don't remember. And now EDA is helping that amazing project go vertical, right? So, but only about $2.5 billion development, largest land development in New Jersey right now, on one of the worst contaminated sites in the state. So EDA's been a great partner, and we're looking forward to the new rollout of the BRIP program with additional incentives and the rolling emissions. So they do everything from historic buildings to solar. So they're a terrific partner. So we're excited to hear when it fully rolls out, and we will invite you back to provide the good news when that happens.
Yes, thank you.
Any questions for Barbara about the BRIP program or any other EDA incentives? No questions about money? Okay.
Let's talk about it.
They'll come, Barbara. They will come, right? I heard ears like twitching. Millions of dollars for historic preservation. Okay. Thanks, Barbara. All right, wait, I feel or hopefully our EP partners are still around after a longer wait. Are we going to our EPA partners? Or are we going to a break, Rachel? I'll put my glasses on so I don't mess up like I did with the project city team. It says EPA.
It's EPA that's next.
Yes. Hi, everybody. This is Yocasta de Jesus. I'm here. Hi, everyone. I just have a few updates from our Brownfields program. Our FY25 ARC announcement came out on May 16. This announcement included information from our assessment, revolving loan fund, and cleanup applications. When the announcement came out, 13 organizations were selected to receive an award out of 24 applications that we received last year. Now, after the announcement, our staff is just working in contacting those organizations so that we can continue with their application process. We are requesting them to prepare a final work plan, and then we can move ahead with the award process. Our National Brownfields Conference is scheduled to take place in August 5th through the 8th. The conference is going to be in Chicago this year, and if you are one of our grantees, you should have travel funds already assigned as part of your agreement so that you can travel and attend the conference. As always, as part of the conference, we always host our regional open house event. I think that's going to be on that Tuesday that week from 2 to 4:30. If you are one of our grantees and you have a successful project that you would like to present during our regional open house, please reach out to me and we can discuss that. Our public affairs is always looking for successful projects from our program to highlight in social media. Again, if you have one of those projects and you would like us to highlight it for our program, please reach out to me and let me know. Our FY26 job training request for applications is expected to be released this month. If you are interested in applying, please let us know and we can walk you through that process. We also have our Targeted Brownfields Assessment Program. This is an assistance that we can provide to eligible organizations. Under the program, we can do environmental site assessments that include doing phase 1 and phase 2. Using our own contractors. Right now, we have funds specifically assigned for New Jersey. So if you are interested in requesting that service, or if you know organizations that may benefit from that service, please reach out directly to me. I am the coordinator for the TVA program. We still don't have a section chief in our program, and we don't know when that's going to change. And that's all the updates that I have. I will put my contact information on the chat, just in case you need to reach out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have any questions for EPA? Alan Miller.
Costa, is there any word as to when the next round of grants will be announced and whether the amounts that we've been used to over the past couple of years will remain at that level for the last year of the bill fund?
Well, usually the new guidelines are released during the fall, in September, October. The level of funds during that announcement. We still don't know because we still don't have a final budget. So it will all depend on the budget that is passed in September.
Thank you.
Yes.
While we have you cast on
Yeah.
the line, I wanted to mention, right, with the hazardous discharge reclamation fund, we can provide up to 75% of remedial matching grants for remedial action and within BDAs, also for green energy projects and open space projects outside of BDA, and up to 50% for affordable housing outside of BDA, and 75% no matter what the end use is within a BDA. And without our federal partners, many of our HDS ref and BDA projects would not have been possible. So right now, there's $500,000 cleanup grants that are matching in Jersey City, in the former Mill Creek, or Mill Creek BDA, or Grand Jersey BDA, Senator Mill Creek near Liberty State Park. The new BDA in Camden, the Federal Street Corridor, another 500,000 grant matching with 1.5 million of HDS ref for the former Burton Chemical, which will have an amazing plan of expansion of the Resitech property and manufacturing facility in Camden, which is a lot of local jobs too. I showed the picture of the Kroc Center, right? That was about $1.6 million of help from EPA. And sometimes their grants can go to things that are potentially not eligible for DEP grants. So I could mention most of the BDAs and talk about important matching from EPA, whether from assessment grants and matching for cleanup grants. Yokasta, do you want to talk a little more or highlight any of your great work?
I just prepared the updates that I gave you. I'm sorry, what was the question that you said?
Well, I just wanted to. You guys have been such a great partner in many projects in many cities from assessment grants. Actually, Harrison Landfill, that was an assessment grant. So $200,000 brownfield assessment grant from EPA led to that project you saw there, right? But the matching grants to do that we can provide up to 75% of remedial action matching grants. But matching that with EPA money has been key in many of our communities. So Yokasta, if you just giving the opportunity for the floor if you want to mention any projects or the great work that you continue to do.
Yes, like you said, a lot of our grantees use, the DBA funds and your funds to complete their projects because, we have limited funding. So if they can leverage all the funds and other programs, and a lot of our grantees have done that. I don't have a list of all the projects that have used those combination of funds, but I can definitely figure out and send you a list of which organizations and how they have combined the both programs and being able to be successful redeveloping the brownfield site. But I know a lot of our grantees use both funds.
Yeah, and thank you, Costa. Right? It's super helpful to be able to leverage funding. And by the way, EPA's brownfields definition is a little different than ours. So some cities have abandoned residential sites, and EPA is open to funding investigations for residential sites too. So sometimes we're not able to help in that matter. John, please.
I have a question. It's fine. I guess my question for Casa and for the group would be, given for the U.S. pipe site specifically, is it because we're BDA? How do you want us, whether it's on the private sector side as a developer or even the city of Burlington to interact with EPA? Is it best to try to work through Tony, who understands how to, these all kind of dovetail together, and then we can approach, EPA together, or should we try to have individual is it best to sort of work through NJDEP to work with EPA, or how do you prefer that we interact with your office?
Could start your constant.
And how does EPA
Yeah.
prefer with you? Or if
I
the
mean,
EP is
we
fine?
don't. Yeah, we don't have like a way, that it will be better. It will be up to you who you want to start with. But we could definitely like have a meeting, all of us, and see, discuss if you have a specific project, how we both, can combine all the funds between, DP and our funds. I mean, we don't have a specific way that it can be done. You can, come to us through our program leverage of the fundings, or vice versa. So it will be really up to you how you want to approach it. Mm-hmm.
I can follow up. Sometimes because, especially with the BDA program, we're on the ground and interacting with the local team and the stakeholders, including developers, LSRPs, things like that. We usually hear these projects before EPA, but it's important to bring them in when especially when we're getting more towards the cleanup phase, when we're talking usually bigger dollars and stuff like that. So we want to have a good relationship with EPA no matter what. But often with HDSRF, we can, because we provide 100% for all phases of investigation, often we've moved the projects with HDSRF funding. But again, there's some sites, like residential sites, that maybe EPA can help with, but also, especially when we get to cleanup phase, we want EPA at the table with us. So it's good to have them involved at all times, but financially, it totally makes sense when we're moving into the remedial action phases, especially. Cool job. Any other questions for Yocasta? Yocasta, thank you so much. Tell me, if we said
Thank you.
hi.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, we've like gone through the break and stuff like that. Rachel usually gives me the hook. Do we want to take like a 5-minute break, a 10-minute break? How long, Rachel? Rachel, tell me. Or Jamil, you
We
tell me.
don't have the room until, we have the room until 12:30. I think we can take a 15-minute break with our conversation.
So this is Frank McLaughlin. We're back at the NJDEP and partners, Brownfield's Quarterly Roundtable. Have some time for discussion. This is what we wanted this is how our roundtable started, as my former colleague Steve T. Hayes may remember. Just a few years ago, 2003, Steve, just yesterday, right? Been a while, yeah. You were probably sitting right there. No, you were sitting here. Maybe I was sitting there. Anyway. It's been a strange trip, hasn't it? It's a long, strange trip. Anyway, we won't go down that path too much more. But we have we want to get back to. I mean, presentations are nice, and getting subject matter experts. And can't be here. The energy in the room from the Burlington City presentation just has everybody buzzed, even without coffee. And thanks to West Orange as well. There's just something about an energy in the room, though, and everybody's juice that you feel. Thank you, Mayor and John. John, he was too excited. I there just. I said something nice about you. It's I'll continue to, John. I'll continue. First, I do have a personal announcement to make. I am going to be retiring from the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection effective July 1. And I don't do that. I'm sorry, Steve?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I think it was kind words earlier, Alan, and to the partners that I've worked with over the years, thank you so much. It's been an amazing run. Not a strange trip, amazing run, like a magic carpet ride. Yeah. Not being myself again. Oh my gosh, stop. But what a blessing to do this important work, right? Taking blighted sites in places that have been either forgotten or have been not gotten the attention they deserve, and to work with amazing people across the state. It's really been a beautiful experience. I'm going to miss it greatly, but I have college tuition to pay for. And literally be leaving July 1st and showing up at the joint base, McGuire Dix, and Lakehurst the following day. Because my wife's like, we got 9,000 checks from the University of Wisconsin coming, so we're not going. You are. You're bringing it home from another source. So anyway, I won't get into those personal things, but it's not because of the love of the places and the people and my colleagues. It's because I have to take care of family. And thankfully, we get a generous pension, so that can help with the college tuition. But on that note, you've met the other amazing folks in the office. So you'll be working with Rachel and Jamila closely. Ron, if you have any administrative questions, and my email's bouncing, Ron is going to be the person to send that email to that bounced out of my mailbox, and continue to work with Rachel and her team on HDS ref projects, and Jamila's going to be supervising our Brownfield development area staff, as well as doing some Brownfield development areas herself. So we're going to be around, and I'm looking at our 4 super talented staff that we've been really lucky to hire in the last. Josephine's been caught in that for almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
Part-time first.
Yeah, at the end of July.
And she just got married, and she just got her master's degree at Brownfield School. So, and she's a veteran. She's a veteran, right? And Erica only has a master's degree in consulting experience. Sam only has a master's degree. I don't know how we get these great folks. And Cameron's learning quick. So, and Tony Finley, who we've talked about a lot, who unfortunately had to attend to a family illness, Tony's not retiring. Ron's not retiring. I mean, not in the near future. So you're going to have great people to work with going forward. So, but I will miss everybody and miss all the places. So on that note, I don't mean to.
A retirement party.
I think my staff's planning that.
Yep, come out to Jimmy's American Grill in Bordentown on June 18 after work. And we'll be there.
I guess Rachel will be sending around flyers.
Yes, if you have questions about it, somebody knows.
Thank you, and it's very sweet of my staff. But we have a lot of work to do together, right, going forward. So we're here to listen, here to write down, here to bring things up the chain of command, here to help you with the projects that you have going, from the smallest sites all the way up to this amazing stuff we just saw in Burlington City and got a glimpse of in West Orange. So just with your questions, please. Be all shy on this. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Frank, during the discussion session.
Just get our folks at home can hear.
My apologies for us up in West Orange and around the world. Yeah, we took advantage of the break there and did some nice contact. We have Mary Christian from Harrison and I had some questions on a couple of sites, and we'll talk to Rachel and Barbara and get some good guidance. So there's no value to coming down here and spending your morning in Trenton. And I hope that continues when you're gone. But I don't have any questions on it because we had questions answered during the break.
Yes, you did, Steve. And Barbara, thank you for helping out Steve and Mary on that. And yeah, the EDA incentives, especially when working with the developer property, are really terrific. So, and one of the big projects that we've already reviewed that got pulled temporarily because of the more generous funding that will be coming, like Barbara says, it's open, are Chrome sites in Jersey City. Actually, two different projects in Jersey City on Chrome sites. Mixed-use development on Chrome sites. No one ever would have thought. When I started DP, we weren't going to build on any Chrome sites, right? Just entomb them, right? But
Projects on from sites. So that, the park down there?
you remember the Interfaith Council, folks, in the late 80s, Steve, right? We got beaten up for a few years, but then, corner to good, Steve. Grab a microphone.
First time I went up to Jersey City to an environmental commission meeting, they threw their shoes at me because of the parking. Couldn't decide what they were going to do with the lawn waste, the chromate copper ore waste. It was a real problem, but there's been a lot of development projects up there. For those that don't are familiar with the issue, back in the 60s, there was a manufacturer up there who had a lot of chromate waste, and he got approvals from the State Department of Health and others, and the city and the county then used that chromate waste because it was free fill, and they backfilled utility lines, they backfilled, they used its backfill all over the lower down part of the county. And as our understanding of the threat of chromate waste contamination grew, we realized there was a lot of these sites scattered. Some of them are big, some of them are small. And to the credit of the developers, eventually over time, they've been able to get a handle on them and deal with them. The responsible parties have stepped up, and it's been a major issue. And so when Frank talks about chromate waste in Hudson County, that's what he's talking about, the historic deposition of backfill manufacturing waste.
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
It was approved by the Department of Health. It's pre-DEA, but they thought they were doing the right thing. Which really points to a lot, my dad was an industrial engineer. I'm sorry, it's telling stories.
Yeah, Steve.
My father was an industrial chemist and worked for a chemical company, and they have always historically have been one of the most heavily regulated industries in the country. They weren't probably, but over time, the historic manufacture and use of chemicals have created the problems that we're all wrestling with now. It's not that anybody was bad or doing anything wrong. These industries put a lot of food on a lot of tables. But now we have to deal with the legacy issues. And that's really what this Brownfield's effort is all about, dealing with the legacy issues of the industrial revolution on the country. I'm sorry, I'm starting to lecture. I'll put the thing down.
No, Steve, all that background is really useful. This specifically, this project and we actually closed to DEP satisfaction for Allied property. So it's got a cap on it, but nobody was going to touch it for redevelopment. So thanks to our friends at the Economic Development Authority and the RIP program that Barbara mentioned, that's going to take us to be able to clean it up to the next level for mixed use, housing, open space, retail. So the program is really awesome to take former industrial sites that may not be ready for the redevelopment that's envisioned locally to bring it to the next level. I don't know, Barbara, if you want to, I know it's an application that was in. DEP does the technical reviews for those RIP applications and providing pretty generous money to take the project to mixed-use development.
Yeah, I think it's on hold. I think that they may reapply for the new program. Some of these applications are put on hold to reapply to the new program, which has more eligibility openings and also larger awards.
Well, that's pretty good news, huh? Yeah, so I said withdrawn. I said probably on hold, right? We did our review, we provided recommendations to EDA, and then projects temporarily on hold. Yeah, Bayfront 1 and 3. Just a small area of about $3 billion of redevelopment that my colleague Alan Miller had worked with for a period of time, in addition to Steve.
Projects take a while to be reached out, you know.
Yeah, we're enjoying it. Weren't we talking about that? And I'm staying power, right? I had to be there, it was like only like 3 years, just let me know. So we don't like complex projects, but some projects, very targeted BDA, we'll only have a interesting one in Paulsboro, which is only 3 sites that we're excited about, right, Erica? Yes, we are. And we're excited about other ones too, but that's probably our smallest of our. I think Harbor City has one of the two is only like 4 sites, Rob? 2 BDAs, I think, Harbor City. 6 and 2. 6 and 2? Just like you. Alan Miller, grab a microphone or
The mic doesn't work, but I'll talk loud. So with Egg Harbor City, it's interesting because there are 2 different.
You are loud, but I don't know where. Oops.
Egg Harbor City BDAs is an interesting dynamic because there are 2 different types of property types within each of the BDAs. So one is a landfill and associated industrial park, and the other is a commercial corridor that runs down a small state highway by Horse Pike and Third. So, where you have, and Egg Harbor City is not that big of a municipality geography-wise. So I think it points out where you find brownfields, what brownfields are, how you potentially define what a brownfields is. And, I will echo a former colleague of mine, and these words may be very true for me. I'm not very smart. But when I look at the state definition of brownfield, I look at it as 4 buckets. It's any current or former, industrial or commercial, that is either vacant or underutilized, and the legislature, when they created this statute, had the foresight to not define underutilized. So they left it to the municipalities to do that. And that is either contaminated or there is a suspect of contamination. So again, to me, I look at those 4 buckets and I say to myself, so that really means anything that's not a single family home or something that has never been developed, potentially is a brownfield site. And then you look at Egg Harbor City and you see the divergent types of BDAs that they have. And you realize that every municipality in the state has their share of sites, whether they like to admit it or not. And that's where an office like Office of Brownfield Community Revitalization, seated in a regulatory environment, is so important to the state of New Jersey and to redevelopment. Because even though a lot of people say it's oil and water and they don't mix, at the end of the day, it's the secret sauce that helps this state remediate and redevelop successfully. And hopefully this office will stay whole and move forward. And it may be up to all of us in this room that are not working for the state to advocate for this office to remain as it is now. And I'm not lecturing.
Well, thanks for your comments, Alan. I'm thinking about like Hainsport BDA, right? 3 sites also, nice vision on open space and that redevelopment, right? So, I mean, we have really nice targeted BDAs, and we were down at Carney's Point yesterday, right? And where they discovered Teflon in 1938. They want to add that site to the BDA, right? So, anyway, we have to go up to the chain of command for some guidance on that. But, yeah, that's just that. That's not a complicated site, right? That's like another, much bigger than National Lead, 1,000 acres. Oh, anyway, 1,100 acres. That's the portion of Carney's Point. Anyway, we'll So yeah, we're excited about all of them, right? In addition to, we mentioned at Carver City, Atlantic City, 3 new brownfield development areas. Of course, one being Baderfield, which is passed in front of DEP and EDA just a few times, right, Barbara? Anyway, do we have any questions from our audience or from our virtual?
No questions, but Ray Pepperman says congratulations on your retirement.
Oh, that's really nice. I enjoyed working with Ray in the Christie and the Martin administration, the Brownfields. I don't know. Is your mic working?
It is now.
Got all.
Thank you for giving them one that does work. So I do want to make an announcement though. So I am part of the Brownfields Coalition in Northeast Beacon. And Beacon is sponsoring a tour and pour. We're having a tour and pour event, and it will be showing off some of the great work that this office and the PDA and Perth Amboy has done. Thank you, Josephine. Within the city of Perth Amboy, the event will be a tour of the Thomas Mundy Park, the Home Depot, which was the old Giroux steel site, and Eport, which is Tony Finley's love of Perth Amboy. It is an event. Please go on. We have flyers here. Please go on the website. Take a look at everything Beacon has to offer for municipalities. Membership is free. Government entities membership is free. And the fly in the ointment is going to be that the tourist things are happening to coincide with retirement party. So maybe what we do is we get a bus and start off in Perth Amboy and end up in Jimmy's. But please consider if you're not going to come to Frank, consider taking a look at what great work not only BP has done, but just as importantly, to go to Burlington City's huge shed, what a municipality that has vision and commitment can do with a little hope, with a little help from others. That's it.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, a Beacon bus tour all the way from Perth Amboy to Burlington Township. That's a before township. Sorry, we got to buy Burlington on my mind. Hey, talk to my staff. They want to. Do we have any more questions in our audience? Anything from the outside world? Well, other than thank you to Ray Rappelman, it's very sweet. All right, we're gonna sign off. Thank you so much for participating here and also remotely. Really want to thank our Burlington City team. Done an amazing project. You electrified the room. It's just this is what we come to work for. This is what we come to work for, really. And thanks to West Orange. So thank you so much. You won't see me at the next roundtable, at least in this position. I don't know what position I'll be in, but I won't be in this position. But I just appreciate everybody's coming and participating with us, because we learn from you as much as you learn from us. And these are complicated projects, as Barbara said a few times, and they take a long time. But we're in the long haul for you guys. So thank you all. And we'll see you. Do we have the next roundtable set up next quarter? It's usually about 3 months from now. Won't be my headache.
It'll probably be in September or October.
That would make sense. So thanks, everybody. And you are free to go or to continue to chat. Thank you.